crowd work when he's talking back and forth to the audience members. And it's making audiences now go into venues expecting to be part of the show for his shows and other comics. And he's got people yelling out at all kinds of stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not what we're doing here. We're taking a snippet of what we've done and put it online because we know it'll go viral. This is not what we're looking for inside of our shows. I saw an interview with Matt the other day where he said, look, I'm not doing as much crowd work in my shows as I was because I'm trying to push back against this. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I want to be. This isn't what I want my shows to be. I'm pushing back on it, right? And I think that's where some of the resentment builds because, again, in a public eye job, people really feel we made you who you are. We gave you what you want, everything you have. You give us everything we want, or watch now as we take it away from fandom. That's what we're really chasing a lot of times. So now he has been listed as a female-only comedian because, you know, a lot of guys like to say he's only selling tickets because he's good-looking. I don't buy it. Matt's a pretty funny guy. He is a decent-looking guy. You know, I'm going to rattle women's cages by what I'm going to say now. And that's what a good comedian is supposed to do. Is kind of supposed to be like, oh, this is what I think is going to happen, and wham, out of left field, here comes the punchline. Right? So apparently what he had said is, and this was, I guess, repeated on a podcast. He started, and we talked about this yesterday with questions women were afraid to ask men. And one of the questions is do men sit around and talk about how vaginas look? And Matt Rife has a joke here about women who have a larger than average clitoris, right? And he apparently called that, it was like God leaving a tag on you, which is a funny line. It is. Is it the nicest thing ever said? No. But it is a funny line. And that's what comedians are supposed to do, is say things that are amusing, not try to find the nicest thing possible to say. Somewhere along the line, we all got that screwed up here, right? Now, he's acting as if he's oblivious to all of this. And what I mean by that is, he said, you know, pushing back on the controversy, quote, you're mad at somebody that's just trying to make you laugh. That's such an insane concept to me. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. All of your heroes, every last one of them, has dealt with this before you blew up and got big. You knew this was coming for you. Go read any of the comments on the Two Bears, One Cave podcast now. Go read any of those. Everybody's all pissed at how much money Tom Segura has now. You used to be one of us, but now, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, dude, he was always that dude. He just didn't have the money to be that guy openly. That's it. He was always that guy. Like, right? And so, like, everybody goes through this when you get a little too big. Because, again, the audience is, we built you. We want to control how. And if you can fly so far away from us, the groundswell that made you who you are, now here comes the controversy. To prison. Celebrity life is a prison without walls. It is, because you're just constantly worried somebody's going to push back or take it away from you and all of these things. Now, he has made, again, more than enough money, and he'll be fine. He says one of the biggest misconceptions of things that get ridiculed online is like, oh, he only has a female fan base. In the beginning, yes, he says, because I did blow up on TikTok, which is very female dominant, and he's not wrong. TikTok is easily the most female dominant social media platform. That's one of the reasons I believe it took off over the last handful of years as it did, is because it's less communication based, more funny video based, and so people aren't arguing things back and forth and hurling slurs at one another and telling women to get back to you. Were sick of being criticized for the other thing, and you're out to prove to them, and more importantly, yourself, that you're not just that guy. 9 a.m. this morning, New Tour Tuesday. I gotta flip out of here. But propaganda's a lot of things. For sure. There's a reason why. Thanksgiving, which, by the way, I am surprised we don't talk more about how this is the problematic holiday that this country has. We used to talk, because I think America needs Thanksgiving more than ever. And we will talk about that a little bit tomorrow. The propaganda I'm talking about is, they tell me your Thanksgiving dinner is going to be cheaper this year versus last year. And I don't buy this a bit. I don't buy it even a little bit. Do I buy this? I have a problem with this here. Products. But a few things will be a little lighter on your wallet there. The American Farm Bureau Federation said last year to this year, turkeys are about 5% cheaper. The cost of cranberries is about 18% cheaper. And then here's where I believe the lie comes in. The average for a 10-person meal is close to $60, which is down around 4% from last year's prices. My mom was spending more than $60 to get Thanksgiving dinner on the table in the 1980s. What the hell are you talking about? My lunch that I bought everything from the grocery store to make yesterday in my house cost me $16.75 with everything that went into that lunch. So a typical lunch for one person is going, by the way, we're talking chicken breasts, some vegetables here, and a couple, you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking crazy things. $16 and some change there for a one-person lunch on a typical Monday. But somehow I'm going to feed another 9 people come Thanksgiving for $60? Guys, come on. We've all been complaining about the grocery store prices for 3 months, and that's exactly why they're trying to tell you this lie right now. For 2 months, I've seen every article. Americans are going to stop hosting Thanksgiving. More and more people are going to not have Thanksgiving at their house this year over the cost. I have talked to people in my life who are nervous about where they're going for Thanksgiving because, wait for it, they make more money than the people where they're going, and they're worried that everything is going to be spread out, and it's going. They're worried they're walking into this is going to be an awkward situation here. This is going to be awkward. If people are having those types of conversations about how they're going to piecemeal the meal together, you cannot tell me, on average, that Thanksgiving dinner is going to cost less for people this year than last year. Come on. Do you really think, not you, and I'm sorry about that, not you. Do they really think that this is going to win people back over on their side of trusting them by telling you these things that you know by feeling it in your goddamn wallet aren't true? We may not all be up to date on nuclear test ban treaties, right? We don't know what's going on with that. By the way, what the hell happened to the Ukraine? Exactly. No, we don't know what's going on with all that. Do we know we're paying more in stores for things than we used to be? Yes. We do know that because you can just look at the receipt this month from last year to whenever. Not that people keep receipts, but you take the point. You don't have to. Your online banking, your digital app will tell you. It will absolutely tell you. I don't buy this even a little bit. We need to spread some positive cheer here. This is a holiday, and this is when people are normally, pretending to be nice and in good spirits and in love with one another, and we need to get that out there a touch. We need to get that out there a touch. Tell them it's going to be cheaper. They don't know. They're stupid. Just tell them it'll be cheaper. That's what's happening here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. By the way, it's not corporate greed. I want you to understand that. It isn't. Are profits up? Sure. Profits go up every year. You've had corporate greed your entire life, and yet you could afford the grocery store when we had corporate greed. Greed is good, Gordon Gekko said in the 80s. Yes, fictional movie, but again, kind of taking its, look what's happening here with these hedge fund guys. Look what's happening here with these investment bank guys. That's what that was. Greed is good. That was the mentality in the 80s, excess. Corporate greed? You don't think corporate greed was at an all-time high for 88? Come on. There are other factors at play here, and you know that. They want you to blame corporate greed so you are pinning the tail on the other goddamn donkey. Does everybody forget when half this country went around and told everybody how proud they would be to pay more money if more people could get health insurance, if more people could get picked up off the ground, if more people could have this? And remember, There was one calm voice of reason, baby, who tried to tell you they are going to pick absolutely 0 people up off the damn ground. They're just going to charge you and tell you they're doing it. And sure enough, here we are. Is corporate greed, is it part of the equation on why you're paying more money? Absolutely it is. But the other half is Bidenomics, Jack.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show, where we've been laughing at the lie that your Thanksgiving dinner is going to cost you $60 to get it on the table. 10 person. Okay. So I did some quick math. And I will admit to you, this is not my strong suit, math. It was easily my worst subject in school by a country mile. English, science, your boy was good. History, lights out. Math, I don't want to, man. It's not my favorite, okay? But I looked up a national average of turkey per pound. $2.25 right now. So $2.25 times 16, right? 16-pound turkey, $36. So you mean to tell me you're going to feed 10 people all their sides, their dessert, their beverages, including alcohol? You're going to feed, when you're hosting, you're hosting. Like, let's be honest about this. When you're hosting, they are your guests. Come on in. At my house is your house. So for $24, you are going to get sides for 10 people. No, you're not. Thanksgiving dinner has one of my favorite foods in the world on it. You know what that food is? It's one of the desserts. One of my favorite things to eat is a pecan pie. I love pecan pie. Can't get enough of it. Every year, I either have somebody make me one or I buy a half of one from the grocery store. Last Christmas, no, it was last Thanksgiving because I was sick. I'm pretty sure I had COVID. I couldn't get off the couch for a week. Remember, I took days off. I never do that. I took some time off. I couldn't get off the couch. Somebody had brought me a pecan pie. Price tag still on it. $11. So 11 of this $24 is now going to one pie, which leaves you $13 to get every other side for 10 people. By the way, guys, who thinks one pie is going through 10 people? It isn't. Oh, well, we need a pumpkin pie, too.
Holidays, we're good.
All right, so we'll get one of those. All right, well, you know what, apple, right? I mean, that's kind of like the American. Okay, so get an apple. All right, fair enough. Sweet potato pie
tomorrow for our anniversary.
One of those there. And, you know, if Stansberry comes over, let's get a pecan pie. So you're 4 pies deep. Well, we're making some of those. Okay, fair. Are you making it that much cheaper than $9? You'd have to forgive me here. I cook food. I don't necessarily bake. I would like to get into it actually a little bit more. But the reason I don't is because everything you bake, you don't want to eat. Meaning it's all terrible for you, right? Like it's all, you know, sugar and like all that. And I try to stay away from a lot of that kind of stuff. I will have a slice of pecan pie come Thursday for sure. Absolutely, I will. I'm not a big turkey guy, so like I end up not really doing that a whole lot. I actually like turkey the next day on a couple of slices of bread, but roast turkey out of the oven, I've never been a big fan of it. But you're not telling me $60 is going through 10 people. $60 won't get you 10 people's worth of food at the fast food restaurants anymore. But somehow you're going to have a feast in your house for 10 people for $60. This is a lie. It's a lie. It's a little positive story, so everybody goes, oh, okay, not so bad. And we don't pay attention to the prices when we go into the store. We whip out the card, we start buying stuff. If prices were so good, then how come for the last month I have to hear about online, you know what I want for Black Friday? Some grocery store sales for Black Friday. I already have a TV. Let's do Black Friday at the grocery store. Because, God, it's funny. It would be funny if it wasn't so damn sad. But most people I've talked to this week are like, ugh, dude, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it. I was kind of talking about how there were people in my life who I know.
Yeah.
There's an expectation with Thanksgiving dinner. You know, and they're worried they're walking into
Amish country, so it's kind of
awkward environment. So a lot of people ask me, why don't they just offer to help?
Some spots.
Why didn't we think of that? Duh! That's been thought of. People are proudly standing there. No, this is what we want to do. And if you offer to help, then what are you saying? People aren't taking that as an offer of help. They're taking it as if you're saying they can't handle what they've taken on. And that is what you're saying. They can't handle it. And people are worried about that. If you could literally feed people, 10 of them, for $60, nobody would be concerned about that. Nobody. If the turkey's going to cost you $36 to begin with, we have caught you red-handed in a bold-faced lie here. Here's the other part of this that we haven't even brought up yet. Thanksgiving meal isn't one meal. Everybody in that house is going to eat 3 times. There's 3 football games on, for crying out loud. At the halftime of every single one of those games, I think I could use something sweet now, right? And like next thing you know, you're going to have your big fat ass in there looking for another slice of that $10 pie that apparently was supposed to go through 10 of you.
Working at a little restaurant in Berlin now.
Funny if it just wasn't so damn sad.
Live from the Hall of Fame City, and just as bad as NFL officiating, the Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9. And you guys do not like this news that $60 isn't going to get your Thanksgiving deal done. So many people are playing, the word economy game. They're jumping through the hoops. Well, technically you could if you did this, if you did that, if you didn't invite your aunt, if you and then at the end of every message. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Working
it would
a little
be the worst Thanksgiving of all time.
Place called Old World Bistro. It's in
you realize you're
Schrock's
turning into those
Heritage
people we always laugh
Plaza.
at together, right? Technically, you could. The point is, people don't want to have to jump through a hoop to try to feed their extended family for the holiday. Can we all agree on that? I mean, come on. People are on me because I called it a lie. It is a lie for most of you. Most of you will not feed 10 people in your home this Thanksgiving for $60. It's not going to happen. Is some hyperbole inside of my conversation that we had? Sure. Most people cannot get this done for 10 people on this price. Because let's be honest. You know what we haven't talked about? Well, Sharon's coming and Sharon really likes that. Because you're trying to supply what people want. Because it is a good environment. You're trying to build off the positivity of being together. And you don't want people thinking about what they should have brought or how much you spent or any of that. You don't want it. You just want the mashed potatoes going around the table. Now, I will say Thanksgiving does have some food where the money can go far, right? Like mashed potatoes. If you buy instant mashed potatoes, they're not necessarily crazy expensive. And you can get away with some of that.
That Stansberry on the
can be, depending on how they get made.
On 106.9.
Mushroom soup isn't going to be cheap.
Out of Canton.
Cheap, like as far as a grocery store item goes, but not necessarily like going to reduce the amount of money you're spending. But that's part of what we haven't talked about. What about all the extra cookies on the table? What about the nibbling things? What about the cheese plate? We haven't gotten into any of it. Dude, again, this is like buying a house. Hosting people over your house for dinner is like buying a house. You think you're ready for the mortgage, you think you're ready for the taxes, but oh no, my hot water heater went out. And that's what you're not thinking of. That's what we're not thinking about with the Thanksgiving dinner. We're not thinking about all the little extra added thought. If you want to go bare minimum, yes, technically, you see it. How last week did you spend $130 on food for a couple of days, and now more people are going to be in your house than ever, and you're going to feed them all for half that? Well, Thanksgiving meal's like one day. It's it's one meal, not like a couple of days, like you just said about the $130 grocery store bill. Right, but as we've already pointed out, there's 3 games on. People are going to eat 6 times. Why are people getting defensive about this? Why is it? Is it because I said Bidenomics, Jack? Is that what did it? Did I piss you guys all off making fun of the Bidenomics thing? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I will never question him ever again. He's doing everything just bang up perfect. He is the Messiah, here to save us all. Are we friends again? I don't understand. Is that why we're all defensive? Because I had a little fun saying Bidenomics? Is that what it was? Because I felt like that's where the mood shifted. I felt like that's where people started like, oh, wait, you see my receipt. Right? Like, I think that's where the mood tried to shift and everybody's trying to prove me wrong here. Right? Now, again, I guess I did say something else. Like, I'm not sure you could feed 10 people at a fast food restaurant for $60. Aaron apparently had done that. They got 2 dinner boxes, and it went through 7 people, 4 adults, 3 kids for $48. Okay. Yes. Again, some hyperbole went into the conversation. Routinely, when we stop at fast food places after playing a round of golf, everybody's order is $17. I don't know how you're doing that. God bless you. Let me just tell you, as a man who's taken a woman and 2 kids to Five Guys, let me just tell you, I wish it would have got done for that. It's technically you can do these things. Well, we all sound like now these people who like point out everything a comedian said to like erase a joke. Now, again, I'm not joking. I'm trying to be serious here. But like, just because technically you could, if you wanted to have the worst Thanksgiving of all time, you could do it. Who wants to have a terrible Thanksgiving? Is that what everybody wakes up on Thursday? Oh, I can't wait for the awful meal at Aunt Susan's. Really? That's what we're doing? Every family knows, man, I hope we go to Grandma's. I hope we go to Aunt Carol's. I hope we go to Aunt Jenny's. I hope we go somewhere. I hope we go where the good food's going to be. Every year, everybody knows that. Nobody's trying to have the worst Thanksgiving dinner of all damn time. And just because you can technically do it doesn't mean that's what people are going to do. Technically, you're only supposed to do 55 on the freeway here in Canton. Something tells me you won't be doing that today. Well, technically you could. Technically you could walk to work every day. Technically you could ride the bus to work every day. You're not going to. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it will be done that way. You could ride your bike to work. By the way, technically, you could work out 5 times a week. Are you going to? Thank you. So that technically, and if we jump through this hoop of fire to try to prove Stansbury wrong, we could technically get here. That's a crazy argument. What most people want to do is this. They want to invite the people they love to their home. They want to go to the grocery store and think about the fact that, I don't care. We got this covered. Come to dinner. Come to dinner. That's it. That's what people want to do. Now, could I find you video of 1984 of a housewife talking about how expensive it was to put Thanksgiving dinner on the table? Yes. Yes. Which is exactly what I'm always telling Gen Z, that these problems are not new to you. What, that that the work environment is terrible? That the job loss is terrible? That the salaries are terrible? Yeah, it's almost like my generation put out a movie called Reality Bites that dealt with all of that as we were entering the workforce. Y'all forgot about Reality Bites, huh? Everybody likes to pretend that movie wasn't real, and now all of these problems are just kind of like sprouting up for Gen Z. No. It's like, so technically, yes. Once you use the word technically or the phrase, you can make anything somewhat true. Here's what I know. If this were true, and if it was going to be easy for you to put the Thanksgiving dinner on the table financially, they wouldn't even be talking about how much money it was. Checkmate.
Give Stansbury a piece of your mind. Use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app and let him know just how wrong he is. It's just wrong. The Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
9 a.m. is New Tour Tuesday. New Dolly Parton and Chris Stapleton absolutely butchering one of my all-time favorite songs. Yay! We'll get there for New Tour Tuesday. Although I do also have a new song called Demons from a band called Weapons of Anew, and that I think you need to hear. So we'll get that played for New Tour Tuesday as well. Also sitting on some new 2 Chainz. We'll take a listen to that. That's got Lil Wayne and Usher in it. All right, we had been talking about how expensive Thanksgiving dinner is going to be. We are in disagreement on it, and that's fine. Disagreements are part of life. Dakota listens every morning. He's like, buddy, I kind of feel like you need to calm down a touch, so we'll get some breathing exercises in now. Good measure. 5. Calm down now, Leo. And I did. I got a little over myself. It does. It kind of pisses me off. And again, everybody kind of knows, dude, I don't really have a camp. I'm kind of an undecided third partier. But like when I spent 4 years watching the president get blamed for everything and spent the next 4 years watching him be blamed for nothing, it's like, well, wait a minute. Do they control prices or not? Like, somebody explain it to me, right? Like that, it's one of those things. It does. The hypocrisy of that kind of bothers me sometimes, and I can get a little carried away with it. Beyond that, I always tell you I try to be truthful when I can, which is most times. I will never intentionally. I may accidentally, never intentionally. Which again, accidentally is not. Anyway, let's not split the hairs. I always get a little. There's a word I'm not allowed to. I use the C word here, but we'll swap in bitchy. I normally go with the C word. There, I get a little CE this time of year. I don't do a good enough job. This is me, not you, or not my boss, or not my corporation. I don't do a good enough job of putting some more time off throughout the year into my schedule. I turn around, dude, all these radio dudes are always gone. Every time I turn around, it's like, yeah, dude, it's like, where the hell are they? It's like, you need a spotlight to find some of these dudes. And like, I'm just not that kind of guy. I don't think it makes me better or worse. I just think it's, I think it's my dad yelling at me for being lazy my entire life. And so what happens is that I end up getting towards the end of the year and I'm like, oh, damn it, that's right. I'm sitting on 3 weeks of vacation. I got to get all this. And so I don't take enough time to like breathe throughout the year. And I kind of get, and I can see the finish line, because normally what I do is I get to about the middle of December and then I'm done for the year, right? And that's what I've decided to do again this year. And by decided, I mean I just pushed it off so damn far that I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh, damn it, that's right. I got to get that scheduled. And so I think that's what's happening. I'm just kind of hitting that part of the year every year where I can feel it on me, where a vacation is needed. And I've always been a little worried. Again, all right, so I'm the honest guy, so here comes some honesty. I've always been a little worried about admitting how bad I may need a vacation. This isn't your fault, but you are told you're lucky to do what you do. And the byproduct of that, by the way, that's not you telling me that, that's the corporation telling me that, right? And so when you have a job like that, it may come with some guilt when you're not doing it. I've met some of you. I know some of the jobs you're doing. I know how difficult those can be. I know how dangerous some of those jobs can be. And it makes me feel guilty when I think to myself, I need a break from this. Because a break from what? Sitting down yelling? Like, I'm not going to get a break from this. I'm going to sit down in my house and I'm going to yell. There's no break from this. Right? And so, like, I think that's what's happening right there. Right? There's a little bit of that in there. And yeah, it did. It kind of annoyed me. Not that you're not allowed. And I want people to write in. I want people to use the talkback button on iHeartRadio. I want you to email. I want you to message. I want you to do all the things. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to love every damn comment that comes in. You know what I mean? And I remind some people sometimes, you got to say what you wanted. And now I'm going to say what I want. Right? And like that's kind of how that goes. It's probably not a system for me, maybe. That's fair. That's fair. But and so again, as I'm going back to the I don't schedule enough time, one of the things I don't normally do, I did this year. So I'm off Thursday, Friday for the holiday, obviously. Those are company holidays. And I built myself an extra day there. I took Monday.